Hello, 7th grade, and welcome to Lesson 9-5 on Congruence. So we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, in the previous lessons, we've talked about different polygons and angles and so on. And now we're going to look at what happens when we have more than one figure, and we want to know if they're congruent. So what are congruent figures? Well, those are figures with the same size and shape, and they have equal measures. So, for example, I have this one. I have this triangle ABC. And you can take a look, and it has these 3 different notches here. And because there's 3 different ones, that means each side is a different length. Now, I could have a figure that's congruent to it. So, for example, let's see. I could, now bear with me here. I'm going to do my best to hand draw this. All right, I'm going to try to draw the mirror image. So again, it's going to have like C over here. Well, you know what? I'm going to make this one actually D, E, F. And if I do it like that, it starts looking, wow, like that. And if I tell you if they're congruent, well, you can take that to mean that these angles that are the same should be the same length. So it should be the same length from AC as it is from DF, segment DF, and the same with side BC as to DE. And again, the same with the angles. So angle C would be congruent to angle D, while angle B would be congruent to angle E. So that's what they're trying to say. With congruent figures, they're the same shape, they're the same size, so they're going to have the same measurements. So here's an example. In this figure, triangle TUV is congruent. This means congruent to triangle WUX. So they want us to see, well, name the corresponding congruent angles. Now, when you do these, it's usually very helpful to look at this because it tells you what to start with. So angle TUV, all right, is the same as WUX. All right, so if we do this, we can keep in mind the corresponding angles. So they start with angle T. Well, angle T must be congruent to the first angle listed here, which is angle W. And if you take a look, they do look like they're the same length. All right, and then we can do the next one. Well, angle U is congruent to, well, the second one they list is angle U of that one. So those are congruent. All right, and then finally, we have angle V, which is the third one listed, is congruent to angle X. And I'm running out of space. There you go. So those are all congruent angles. Again, I just took them in the order they were listed at the top, and that helped me decide. All right, and then name the congruent sides, Well, here we can take a look, and they actually have them outlined in green for us, so it's kind of easy on this one. But angle VU, or not angle, segment VU would be congruent to, well, it looks like congruent to side UX, or segment UX. And then let's see, VT is probably the easiest one to recognize, is congruent to WX. And finally, last one, segment TU is congruent to segment UW. There we go. So now, using this information, we told all the sides and all the angles are congruent. They say find the length of WX. So we need to find out how long this is. Well, we can go back to what this says. WX is congruent to segment VT. Well, if they tell us VT is 300 meters, that would mean the segment WX is also 300 meters because they're the same, because they're congruent. All right, so that's one piece of the lesson. The next part is talking about how we can identify congruent triangles. And there's 3 ways to show that 2 triangles are congruent. All right, and that is using the side measurement, or as I have it listed here, the XSS. All right, this is when they have 3 sides that are completely congruent. All right, so for example, this one they talk about how all three sides were congruent, so we could say it's congruent due to the side, side, side identification. Then if you have two sides, like in this one, these sides are congruent and this side is congruent, and then an angle, we call it the side angle side measure. And then finally, we have angle side angle. So if they have two angles and one side in common or that are congruent, we use that way, angle side angle. So you'll see what I mean now. List the congruent corresponding parts of each pair of triangles. Then you write a congruent statement for the triangles. All right, so they have some of these matches already figured out for us, so that is awesome. All right, so it's either going to be side, side, side. There are three sides. It's going to be side, angle, side, or angle, side, angle. So what we need to do is first find out parts that are congruent. And it's very nice here because they tell us straight up, well, these two triangles are congruent, and they share this angle, and they have that one notch. Because they share that one little notch there, I know that angle C is congruent to angle C here. And that is an angle piece. So I'm going to just write A next to it so I keep that in mind. That had to do with angles. All right, and then, well, I see this here. It shows two segments and they each have that one notch. So, line EC is congruent to line AC. And again, that's talking about a side, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then finally, we have another one. I could do angle E here, which they show is if you match these triangles back up or put them one on top of each other, angle E would be congruent to angle A. It's the same measurement, all right, or the same measure. So we have that. We have angle, side, angle. So we know this is congruent due to angle, side, angle. So we can say, all right, triangle EDC is congruent to triangle ABC due to angle, side, angle. There we go. So that's one way to do it. And then we have another example that we can try. Here's B. We have a triangle MJK and triangle LKJ. All right, that we have to decide if they're congruent or not. So what we take a look at is, again, find those notches here to help you figure it out. So first they show notch here and here, telling us that those two sides are congruent. So I'll start with that. Line MK is congruent to, well, this line of JL. And again, those are sides. So I'm going to just put an S next to it. All right, and then they show this one. Well, they show angle J is congruent to angle K. So we know those are the same, and those were angles. And then finally, we have to find one more way they show it's the same. And the way I look at it is here. If you take a look, they share the same base here. They share line JK. They have the same base. All right, because JK works for this triangle, and then they use JK in this triangle. So if they're using the same base, they have to be the same measurement. So that's another side that is the same. So then triangle MJK is congruent to triangle LKJ due to side, angle, side. So when you do these, you have to first list the three ways in which they're congruent. So show three ways they're congruent. And then you can go ahead and make a general statement. Because these three facts are true, I know these two triangles are also congruent based on side, angle, side. I listed two sides and an angle. All right, that's our lesson for tonight. I will see you in class tomorrow. Adios.